take the best and dump the rest. I've always liked that. It was kind of like a term of ride your winners and cut the losers. But those are really, we're always talking about in the way of like money, or what I call virtual economics, where so many people have lost their souls in a sense, or covered them, hidden them for money. And when you take the best and dump the rest, no matter what you go through, you can use it as a stepping stone to the real purpose and mission of our experience as living entities. We want to be happy. Our nature is happiness. Our nature is joy. This is who we are. And in a sense, we're seeking. Why we keep seeking and keep running after is because we've been taught to believe that the happiness is out there somewhere and that we're going to get it. And so we leave our heart center. We put in this goal as our objective, as our God, as our source of pleasure and happiness. And then we run after this as if it has something for us, but there's nothing there because it's just things. So when we take the best and dump the rest, and I can remember, and I've told people this, I didn't know what real suffering was in this lifetime life experience until I got married. Now that doesn't mean that's true for everybody, but it definitely was for me. And I really had a wonderful childhood and life experience. I mean, it was always just beautiful in every way. I suffered the teenage thing, got pimples, being this, that, to the boys, all this stuff. And then you try and make yourself. That's where you start trying to get your act together, putting all the parts and the pieces. Well, I like a little of that, a little of this'll get. I'll be a good product then. I'll get love. I'll get attention. I'll get money. I'll get all the things we start putting together. Well, anyway. So then entered into the marriage thing. I didn't really know what to do or much like that. Not really looking at the purpose behind it all and all that. But anyway, so I could have really called that a lot of suffering and owned that and added that to my collection of suffering, painful, horrible experiences, and then believe all that's true about me and take it on and emotionalize it and dramatize it. But you see, that just keeps you in it. And even if it happened a moment ago, if you're still living there, now it's happening still, because you're still being there as if it's happening now when it isn't. Or projecting what could happen, so you suffer now for what might happen in the future, really? Postpone your suffering. And if you have to suffer, you go ahead and suffer, but why are you doing it now? Fantasizing, imaging it, terrified, feared you're going to die and go into sleep and whatever. Yeah, you're not going to die, but you will drop this three-dimensional reality at some point, either because you're in the time game and you're following your script, so when your time is up, bing, okay, because you've agreed to that and all that. But if you're not living in time, you're always being, so you're always alive. And regardless in what form you are expressing it. So anyway, what I found with all the value I got, not that you have to create suffering to get value. I don't believe there's no gain without pain. I don't believe that. That's a belief system. And when you tend to watch your thoughts, just sometimes just watch your thoughts, notice where they're going, what they're about. I notice I have thoughts start to glorify myself, start to remember how wonderful I was and how I spoke and I acted, and just enamored. Really? Unbelievable. Then the fear, what could happen? And that's sometimes, consciousness is contagious. So we take on the consciousness of the people around, and I also look at how the consciousness of the person that I was married to, and for me, is the real value of that for me was I went to start going to church, into metaphysics, and because that's where I resonated. That felt right for me. And I would go there to church and feel so good because I'd be restored to myself instead of hearing every day how stupid I was. And just constant. That's because the person was afraid, had fear. That's why only people criticize like that. They're envious, they are miserable themselves. And of course I was, because I had no clue. But then the pain led me to find out how not to suffer. And more than that, see, once we get that, it's in the mind. And yeah, when you know how to control the mind, you've eliminated the greatest terrorist weapon ever invented, your own mind. False virtual reality mind. Virtual economics. Virtual spirituality. You know, it's a spiritual war game. Don't play. My God's better than your God. Your God, my God wants you bad. My God likes you bad. Then I get promises of something you don't know. Wonder if your God, that we don't, I'm not even going to talk about it. But it's like, whoa. So my God is loving, kind, giving, my source, my partner, my beloved. My best friend, always with me, and then I respect you see. So what we're going to do is, instead of keeping all the stuff, you don't have to, they say never forget this so it never happens again. No, you knew what was going on at the time or wherever you were. And all the other stuff that we are taught and told, if you weren't there, and even wherever you were in that, that's your experience. That's all you know. All the rest we've been told to. So if you find the gift in everything and use that, just like when someone irritated me or got my goat show up, I realized that was God showing up as that other person to reflect something back in me that has some attachment to some false ego, misidentifying myself as a body that I have to promote and defend. Why? That's why be you to the full, be beautiful. That means activate yourself in whatever is going on, not make a belief that I have to suffer to gain, that I have to be a saint and saints suffer and I have to prove something, that I'll just keep suffering here forever. Really? Who are you trying to... See, if you're trying to be a good person, you'll attract bad people. I'm sorry, because you think you're good. You're beyond good and bad. You are absolute goodness. It's the mind that has the like and dislike. It's the mind that says, okay. So I can make and have made every... I'll tell you, I've been down. I've been really, really down. Whoa. And it was always about someone else. And when we give other people that power to make us who we are, to reflect to us some value that we have, you set yourself up. Because everything here has a positive and a negative. You got to rise above positive and negative and stop looking to anybody or anything outside yourself for what you need as a soul. And yet we are interdependent as well as dependent. And inter is to be dependent from within. Yes, we're not alone. And even the word all alone means all one, but it means we're unified as like everything in the earth is coming from the earth or within the earth, and yet the tree has, this is a hemlock tree actually, really nice, and they're really slow growers, it looks like, yeah. And this is different from the rock, and different from that. There was a story about baby Krishna in some of the Vedic teachings and mythologies, and that he, or maybe it's Lord Chaitanya, who's a great teacher and an avatar 500 years ago, ecstatically blissful. When he was a baby, he was eating dirt. And his mama told him, and then he was in the garbage, eating the garbage. His mama said, don't do that. We said, well, why not? It's all the same. Because it is made from the same, but it's also different. Just like in the yard, in the farm where I'm living, there's a lot of wild hemlock. Well, it also looks like wild carrot. But if you would eat the the hemlock, that would bump off your body. Your body wouldn't be able to take it, so you'd leave your body. But the wild carrot has certain herbal qualities, but you got to know the distinctions. Yes. So when we take the good, we find the value, and when I look back, what actually was the courage always to follow my inner knowing, and to also actually be there now in consciousness. And that's when I wrote Live Your Bliss, is how when we stay in the bliss zone, we are lifted out of situations that are abusive because they're not natural, and we are placed into the natural state that we would call a miracle. So don't let anyone or anything defeat you. You empower yourself with what you know and what you realize, you see, and dump the rest. Free yourself up to experience ecstatic joy and bliss of your divine pleasure, of your own self, God presence within. Yeah.